Okay, so I was not planning on doing a live, so I didn't announce it. As you can tell from my voice, I'm a little bit under the weather. Um, that's why I'm inside. Didn't go anywhere today, did not train, and I'm at home just watching some of the UFC fights. And I figured I might as well just go live and give you some of my commentary as the fights go on. So right now we're still at the preliminaries, and I'll just see how long I can do this. You can tell from my voice that, yeah, I'm a little bit under the weather for the last couple of days. Um, right now, what's streaming is Mariana Rodriguez versus, I'm not sure of the other lady's first name, but her last name is Lucindo, and she's a 22-year-old. Looks to me like Lucindo may have won that second round. I didn't see the first round. But Lucindo was able to get Rodriguez down on the ground and maintain top position for um, a decent amount of the second half of that round. I tuned in halfway through the second round. All right, so right now they're at commercial break, but I'm assuming more people are going to tune into the UFC in about a little bit over half an hour when some of the sort of more well-known fighters will be on the preliminary part of the main event, meaning Jose Aldo's fighting, Kayla Harrison's fighting, who else? And then, of course, main event is Alex Pereira defending his belt versus Khalil Roundtree, and then the co-main is uh, Pennington defending her belt versus Juliana Pena. Okay, so we're just heading back now. I think, let's see, the third and final round of this women's matchup of Mariana Rodriguez versus Lucindo. And it did look to me like Lucindo may have been ahead at the end of the second round. Like I said, I did not see the first, but let's see how this second one goes. Right now they're starting out. Both women are choosing to exchange on their feet. Rodriguez is sort of the longer, leaner fighter. She's got that kind of build. Though Lucindo is really not giving up that much height disadvantage to her. She seems to be built a little bit more like a grappler, but her striking seems to be on par. Right now, Lucindo has Rodriguez up against the fence. Lucindo has an underhook or double underhooks, and has got the body lock and is trying to, I think, get Rodriguez down to the ground. Oh, and she does so. She now has mount position, top position. Rodriguez is on the bottom. They're right up against the fence sideways. And it looks to me like Lucindo's just kind of trying to maintain that top position in mount. She's got her hips above Rodriguez's hips. She's got both hooks in. She's still got her underhooks. Oh. And it looks to me like the ref is just making both of them stand up because he didn't see any action there on the ground. I'm not sure what the ref is now saying to Lucindo. He's kind of going on for a little bit. Oh, is he calling? Ref looks like he's speaking to an official outside the ring. Not sure if that's, yeah, I don't know if that was a doctor or an official. Might have been the doctor. In any case, the action's now resumed. Both women now back on their feet. Lucindo seems to favor this sort of a tie guard where she's got her fist well away from her head, or at least her lead fist. She seems to be comfortable switching stances, but honestly, I don't know that either one of these women are spectacular strikers. Although Rodriguez does have that long, lean build that kind of favors her if she wants to. You know, she's just got a little more torque on her punches from from her physical build. And it's Rodriguez that's doing most of the action right now. Lucinda just kind of waiting with her hands high up and wide apart, throwing single punches. Rodriguez is more the striker. Now she's got her in tie clinch. Rodriguez's back is against the fence. Still trying to maintain that tie clinch, but Lucinda breaks away. Rodriguez is still the more active one throwing strikes. She seems to want to start out her exchanges with the jab, whereas Lucinda seems to be trying to load up for a power right hand. They're both in orthodox stance at the moment. Oh, and Rodriguez lands a decent jab, right hand. Another good right hand from Rodriguez. Again, trying to go for the tie clinch now. Rodriguez is trying to go for the body lock and actually gets Lucinda down on the ground. It's kind of caught up. They're both sort of tangled up with their legs. Rodriguez has top position. Lucinda's on her side. Their legs are entangled as if someone wants to go for a leg lock, but not quite. And now Rodriguez is trying to work herself, I think, into a ground and pound position, but Lucinda's using her legs to keep Rodriguez away. Rodriguez is now on top position, kind of folding, trying to fold Lucinda in half, but Lucinda does have both of her legs around one of Rodriguez's legs. She stands up, and now Lucinda's got top position. Rodriguez is on the bottom. She's got Lucinda in full guard. Trying to kind of, I think she's trying to, looks like Rodriguez is trying to strike from the bottom. Lucinda's trying to drop strikes from full guard position. And the ref stands them up. And that's the fight. So both women kind of raise their arms as if they think they won. Let's see. The stream just cut, or the broadcast just cut to commercials, so we'll see who wins this one. I would say it's a pretty close fight. Like I said, I missed the first round, but fairly close fight. It'll be interesting to see who gets the decision in this one. Jesus M says not a great card. Yeah, I get it. I mean, my opinion in the main event, I don't, they're trying to build up Roundtree as if he's has a viable chance of winning versus Pereira, but I don't see it. I see Pereira knocking out Roundtree. I mean, Roundtree, it does have all these knockouts on his record, but in terms of just experience, nothing compares to experience. Pereira just has way too much experience at a world-class level of striking. He has what we call, spidey senses, where I won't say he's on automatic, but his body just knows how to make adjustments and find openings and go for a killer strike when he needs to. I don't think that, for all his athleticism and all his knockouts, I don't think Roundtree just does not have that experience under his belt. So, yeah, I understand, Jesus, what you're saying. A bunch of washed off fighters on this card. So who are you referring to? Jose? Alex is chinny? Well, do you think Jesus, do you think Khalil gets the KO? Are you gonna go? He's apparently a 9-1 underdog. That's pretty wide. But regardless, I feel that Alex can get the KO versus Khalil. All right, so here now we're going to the cards for this female fight. Let's see who gets this. Wow, okay, so it was a split decision for Lucindo, and it was about as close as you could get because, one judge gave it to Rodriguez, and all the scorecards were 29-28, so it doesn't really get any closer than that for a split. I'm guessing maybe they gave it to her for maybe perhaps she had more top position time on the ground. I don't, I can't really answer that. I think Rodriguez, at least in the third round, maybe in the second, threw more significant strikes, but um, I can't really give you a solid evaluation on that because I did not see the whole fight. Hi Ricardo, and hi Gucci Queen. Sorry, Gucci Queen just left, but um, hi Just K. How are you? So, Jesus, I guess you mean by washed up, do you mean Steven Wonderboy Thompson also? Is he washed up? Um, he's taken on Joaquin Buckley, right? The guy with that viral spinning, jumping back kick KO. Uh, I don't know. I think, Wonder Boy, he's just such an appealing fighter, such an appealing personality that, he's done well by the UFC, so I think they're gonna just kind of keep him fighting until he doesn't want to anymore, right? He's just a nice, clean guy. He speaks well. Doesn't go out and get himself in any trouble. I'm sure he's very reliable as far as, you know, showing up, getting on the plane, not getting arrested by the cops, making weight, all of that. So when you have a fighter like that on your roster, who's solid, reliable, and comes to fight, that's kind of somebody that a promoter likes, regardless of whether they're KOing everybody left and right. Reliable goes a long way as far as matchmaking as a matchmaker goes because they know they don't have to worry about you messing up and messing up the whole card at the last minute. Then you're good. Right. Okay. Carla's already retired. That's right. Now that always concerns me when someone announces way in advance, "Oh, this is going to be my last fight. This is going to be my last fight. I can't wait to get in there and do it one last time." It's like, um, maybe you should keep that one to yourself. I don't know. It's even if you know in your mind like this is going to be my last fight. I don't think it's necessarily the best idea to sort of announce it that way, even though that is the storyline, and maybe she's hoping that way gets more sort of eyeballs on her fight because it's her last fight. I'm not sure what her thought process was behind announcing that. Yeah, but Jesus, I would tend to agree with you. I mean, do you think this is going to be Jose and Stephen Thompson's, or Jose rather, Jose Aldo and Stephen Thompson's final night under the bright lights with the UFC? I guess we'll see how those two fights play out and how these guys do, right? Um, Overall, who do you guys have winning? Hi, LS Vlogs. How are you doing? Thank you for always liking on my little short videos. Appreciate your support. And thank you guys for tuning into this first live stream. It was completely unplanned because, like I said, you can tell from my voice that I'm a little bit under the weather. So I was, you know, I don't encourage you guys necessarily to try to catch me doing a live stream about fights because in my opinion you guys should be watching it with your friends, maybe in a place where you can get an adult beverage or something. Like, go out, have fun with your friends to watch the fights. Don't stay at home or be on your phone watching me talk about the fights. Like, have more fun with it. You guys are fight fans. That's part of the great part about being a fight fan, right? Is getting together with your friends, maybe sharing some food, just having some fun, making a few side bets perhaps. But I do appreciate you guys tuning into this. So thank you. Haha, Jesus says, horrible cars, just giving jobs to everyone. Well, uh, yes, you got to keep your roster busy. Don't forget, promoters who sign fighters are under legal obligation to at least offer them X number of fights per year at X number of, at X amount of dollars. So it is a business in the end, right? Um, is it worth a pay-per-view? Uh, I mean, I guess that's up to you guys. I don't know. Am I gonna watch Better Be versus Bivol? Oh, for sure, for sure. Hi, Bruce. Bruce Gas, boxing, jazz, and more. Peace to you, also, Bruce. I appreciate you. All right, so Joaquin Buckley and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson are in the cage. Bruce Buffer is just making the announcement. I have no idea what Joaquin Buckley is trying to mouth to the camera, pointing at his mouthpiece. I guess he has something written on his mouthpiece. And one boy now, Stephen Buffer or Bruce Buffer is just announcing Stephen Thompson. Thompson just bouncing around on his feet. And I guess we're just getting ready to go here. Just finished announcing Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and Mike Beltran is the referee. Not sure what the story is with that guy's crazy facial hair. It's like, his facial hair is longer than my hair. But to each his own, I suppose. Not sure how long he's been growing that mustache. But anyways, we get off to a start here. Stephen, his typical hands fairly low, karate thing, bouncing around in a fairly oblique stance. He's in orthodox stance, and Buckley's in southpaw stance. Oh, goodness. Buckley right away presses Thompson up against the cage with the strikes and then goes for a takedown, gets it, a double leg. Stevens sitting with his back against the cage. Buckley's trying to keep control, but Steven manages to stand up. Buckley now has one underhook and one of Thompson's wrists. They're both trying to exchange knees. Stephen Thompson has a whizzer grip. It's kind of a defense versus Buckley. There's kind of a significant height difference with Thompson, a good head taller than Buckley. Buckley's just trying to pick away at Thompson's legs with inside kick and knee. Just maintaining that underhook and wrist control, pressing Stevens' wrist against the cage. Now they break away, back to the middle of the cage, back to striking. Thompson's still bouncing around with his hands about stomach level, and Buckley's got a slightly higher guard. Both men kind of just looking at each other, not throwing too much. Buckley throws a light teep. It doesn't really have any effect. But body language wise, Buckley seems to be sort of the one pursuing Thompson and trying to get him against the cage. Thompson throws a rear body kick. Doesn't seem to have any effect. Buckley throws a rear front kick. Oh, and Thompson lands a couple of punches, but Buckley goes right in to press Steven against the cage. Again, looks like he's trying to get an underhook. It looks like Thompson has a whizzer grip again. Oh, Thompson is spins him around, and now they're back to the center of the cage. Thompson still doing that bounce, bounce, bounce thing with his hands at mid-stomach level. Buckley still sort of walking forward, trying to, when he throws his punches, I think he's just trying to press Steven up against the cage. I think that's his strategy. You know, press Thompson up against the cage, get a takedown, try to work him on the ground. Joaquin lands a nice left hand. Again, he's got Steven against the cage. He's going for the double, gets Steven down with his, but Thompson's able to get up to his knees. Again, Thompson has a whizzer grip. Buckley has the body lock around Thompson's waist. Same position as previously, just pressing Thompson up against the cage. He's got the left underhook, right hand wrist control. Thompson's able to break away. Now they're back again to the center of the cage. Buckley again, he walks forward as he punches, just again to try to press Steven against the cage, I think. And cage gentlemanship wise, he's somewhat successful with that, but then if he lets Thompson off the hook, Thompson just circles around and comes back to the center of the cage. So once again, Buckley's trying to press Steven up against the cage, but Steven circles around. Back to the center. Joaquin goes for some kind of takedown, and they're back in that same position again with Buckley with the underhook, Thompson with the whizzer, Buckley with the wrist control, pressing his head against Thompson's shoulder, trying to just maintain control of Thompson. And that's the round. Okay, we're going to the break. Thanks, LS Vlogs. Thank you for showing love here. Appreciate it. What else? Yes, Omar, I am watching the UFC bouts right now. So, appreciate you guys tuning in. Right now, we're at the between round break. But, who do you guys have for the main event? Do you think Alex knocks out Khalil? Or do you think he gets a decision? What about Pennington versus Pena? Do you think Pennington retains her belt, or do you think Juliana is able to win the belt back again? Tell me what you guys think is going to happen there. How about you guys? Is anybody there a big Kayla Harrison fan? Do you think she gets the W versus Ketlin? And do you honestly think that Kayla could beat Ketlin, Juliana, and Raquel all in one night? All right, here we are with round 2 of Thompson versus Buckley. And now Thompson's coming out in southpaw stance. So that's an interesting switch. Now he switched back to orthodox. Joaquin Buckley seems to want to maintain fighting out of southpaw. Now, I don't know a lot about Joaquin Buckley, but I'm kind of wondering if that's because he has more of a wrestling background, and so a southpaw boxing stance would be a right-handed wrestling stance. Oh, and Buckley lands a decent punch and kind of hurts Thompson, it looks like. Thompson's still doing his bounce, bounce, bounce. You know, his sort of karate thing with his hands way low. And again, Joaquin shoots in for a takedown. Thompson's back is against the wall. Thompson's got that whizzer. Buckley's trying to get the wrist control with his right hand, underhook with his left. And both men are just, once again, in the same position against the cage, trying to exchange short punches. But it's more or less a stalemate, and Steven circles out, goes back to the center of the cage. Omar, are you watching the UFC fights? Oh, and Joaquin gets Thompson down again against the cage. Thompson makes his way back to his feet. Again, Buckley has that underhook with his left. He's trying to throw punches with his right. Again, Thompson circles around. Now Thompson has Buckley with his back towards the fence, but both men move back towards the center of the cage. At this point, I would say they would likely give Buckley the W, mainly just because he had more wrestling control. There really hasn't been a lot of significant strikes landed by either man just yet. Both men just kind of posing and posturing and looking at each other, not really throwing to land right just yet. Thompson now switches back to southpaw stance. I think Buckley's just being very cautious about throwing strikes. It's almost like he's waiting for Thompson to throw first so he can try to counter. And he is landing some decent left hands against Stephen Thompson. Shoots for a double. Thompson avoids it, but now Buckley's got him. Got his back. He's against the cage. Again, Stephen scrambles to get his back against the cage and get a whizzer, this time with his right. Buckley has his right arm in underhook, left wrist control, with got Thompson's back against the cage, and both men are trying to exchange a little bit. Again, Buckley's using good head control against Thompson's shoulder. And the ref breaks up the action. I'm not sure why. He's speaking to Thompson about something. Asking him if everything's okay. I think it's because there was Buckley threw a knee, and maybe the ref thought it was low. Anyways, so now action resumes. Thompson's starting to throw some kicks out of southpaw. Now he switches back to orthodox. Buckley's still trying to maintain kind of a high guard as he steps forward and throws shots at Thompson. Almost tried a cartwheel kick there, but not quite. Thompson's not really throwing combinations. He seems to be just sort of throwing single shots here, which is a little bit surprising. And that's it. So we're back on break. What fights are you guys looking forward to? I mean, I assume everybody's interested in Better Bivol, but what other MMA or boxing fights are you looking forward to as we head into the fourth quarter of the year, or we're in the fourth quarter of the year? Who do you guys have winning between Beterbiev and Bivol? I think I'm gonna go. Right now, I'm going with Beterbiev. I mean, he's got that perfect record, but that's not just it. He's something else. I mean, I respect Bivol's boxing skills, but I just feel like Beterbiev is just so patient and so precise, and he's got very, I think, deceptively snappy power that I think he just might KO Bivol. All right, here we go. Third and final round between Stephen Thompson and Joaquin Buckley. Right away, Buckley's got Stephen with his back towards the cage, and Stephen's trying to move around laterally before Joaquin can close distance. He does so. They get back to center, starting to exchange some punches and closer quarters, and it looks to me like Buckley's getting the better of Stephen in these exchanges, just because he's landing with more vehemence. Stephen's still trying to do that bounce, bounce, bounce thing. Again, Buckley's got Wonder Boy pressed against the fence. Left underhook. Thompson's got the whizzer. Both men are trying to sort of exchange, and then Thompson circles out. They're back to the center of the cage. Even though Buckley's, you could tell he's just sort of a less polished striker. He's a little more awkward as a striker, but I'd have to say he seems to be outlanding Thompson in this fight, simply on guts in a sense. Buckley throws a rear head kick, but doesn't land. Again, Buckley has Stephen kind of moving backwards. And while Thompson does show a lot of skill in his fighting and good technique, it's just not enough volume. I think he's going to lose this decision basically on volume or lack thereof. All right, so we're in the final 3 minutes of this third and final round. Oh, and Buckley lands. Oh, and that's it. Buckley lands a leaping right hook. Stephen Thompson kind of goes down on his knees. Buckley moves in to just take some headshots, and referee Mike Beltran just calls a stop to it right then and there. Camera angle was from the rear, so I couldn't really see what was going on from the referee's point of view. But I assume Beltran knows what he was looking at, and I guess Thompson was just badly hurt from that one leaping shot. Here it is again. Stevens moving backwards. Buckley clips him with the right hook, and Thompson goes down on all fours. And gets in one shot before Beltran just calls a stop to it. I think he realized that Thompson, I don't know if he could tell if he was out, but he was just badly hurt by that sort of leaping hook. So I don't want to say that Thompson had that coming, but throughout the whole fight, he kept backing up towards the fence. And so, Buckley took advantage of that backwards motion this time and just jumped in with that right hook, knowing, Thompson has nowhere to go because he's right at the fence. So good job to Buckley. He didn't leave it to the judges. He made it clear that he won that fight. So congrats to Joaquin Buckley on getting a KO versus someone who will probably go down in the UFC Hall of Fame. He got a KO versus a name brand striker, I guess you could say. I think that's a good feather in Joaquin Buckley's cap for sure. So appreciate you guys. What fights are you guys, or who are you guys picking with the main event? Do you think Alex gets the KO? Do you think Alex gets the decision? Charles is saying, what do they earn for a bout like this? I really don't know, Charles. I'm gonna hope, since it's televised, that nobody's making any less than 5 digits, I would think. Um, I don't know if they can. I don't know if somebody like a Joaquin Buckley can command 6 digits yet. I would assume Stephen Thompson's, considering what he's done for the company, as we say. I would think he could command 6 digits, but I think the thing is, that it's the platform that the UFC provides, in a sense, for these fighters, even though the purses probably are not good, and that's why people like Paul Malignaggi or other boxing folks say, oh, you're grossly underpaying your fighters. Look at their purses suck. But um, quite honestly, if you are being televised by the UFC, I would hope that you have advisors who can help you, make money outside of your purse. Like, you should be making money, a lot more money that has nothing to do with the purse, because of the platform you have. You should be trying to, like, capitalize on the publicity that you get simply by being televised by the UFC, on a global platform. Of course, they're not allowed. You can't have sponsors anymore. You have your own personal sponsors anymore, but I would assume you still have sponsorships on the side. You can do things via social media now. A lot of these UFC fighters do their own content, and akin to like a UFC embedded, like, their own behind the scenes video vlogs, right? So I would hope that they figured out how to generate some income for themselves from that as well. And again, I would certainly think that, since this is not like UFC Fight Night, this is actually a UFC. It's a big card. I would hope that these guys are getting, um, at this point of the card. I hope they're getting at least low 6 digits, because they're generating eyeballs uh, for the stream, right? Or I'm not even sure. How much is the pay-per-view for this? Are any of you guys buying the pay-per-view? How much do you think we should pay for a pay-per-view for boxing or for the UFC? How much are you guys willing to pay for boxing pay-per-views? Personally, I feel like the boxing is a little bit overpriced. Um, that's just me. Um, you got to ask, right? There's always that sort of cost benefit analysis. Like, if you lower the price, will you get more views and therefore wind up in the long run, um, making more profit? If you lower the price, you can't lower it too far, because then you won't make enough. But I mean, if you lowered it to something like $30, $25, would you then generate that many more pay-per-view buys, that total would outweigh whatever you're making by selling it for $100 or something? Deshawn's asking, can y'all show feet? Deshawn, you gotta explain to me what you mean by that. Sorry, I'm not quite getting that one. Mad Simple says, I pay $25 at the movies. You mean like that's the ticket, or that's your ticket plus the soda and popcorn? I know movies are not inexpensive anymore either, right? If you're gonna take a whole family, it's gonna wind up costing you a couple of bills. That's that's a lot, right? You might as well go to a live sporting event, like baseball or basketball, I suppose. Are any of you guys Juliana Pena fans? Just asking out of curiosity. Um, Me personally, I'm not really a Juliana fan, just because of I'm not really into her trash talking. Um, I'm also not really like into her boxing skills or lack thereof. Um, Deshawn's asking me, do I have an OF? David Jenkins. Yes, absolutely. The price for a pay-per-view should be based on how good or bad the card is, right? You're absolutely right. Every card is definitely not worth the same price. What's kind of sucky about boxing is they tend to jack up the price when they've got the one and only good fight is the main event, and then everything else is just, you know, people we've never heard of or complete mismatches. And that just seems to me to be like, you're at that point, you're clearly ripping people off, right? Like you're going, oh, we know you want to watch this main event, so we're going to charge you top dollar, like 99 bucks. But we're then just going to fill up everything else with like record building boxing fights that nobody wants to see because they're going to be complete blowouts for whoever the promoter has signed to them, meaning the A sides. So yeah, um, it seems like for a while, boxing fans, we've been sort of subjected to that rip-off mentality. Like, um, I think that's a big reason why the UFC has been able to grow or grew so much. Certainly, no doubt during the pandemic and whatnot. Um, Again, people will criticize the UFC and Dana White for supposedly not paying his fighters enough. But here's the other thing. Think about think about your taxes, right? If you get one big huge lump sum payment, like a check for 6 7 digits, Uncle Sam's going to take their part of that. If you can, on the other hand, figure out a way to generate income via other means through a business that you set up, then you're in it. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that. Again, if you can use that publicity you get by being a UFC fighter and then parlay that into other business interests and then running everything through your own like LLC or corporation, then you're subjected to a whole different set of taxes, and it's not like direct income to you. So in a sense, I feel like people sort of um, pound the ground a little bit too much about, I want a bigger purse. It's like, really? Do you really want that big of a purse? Because Uncle Sam's going to take a good chunk of it, and you darn sure better pay Uncle Sam. Because if you think you're an OG or you're a gangster or you have friends and you think they're gangsters, well, I hate to say it, but Uncle Sam is the biggest gangster out there because he's going to come whatever he said he's going to get, and he's going to get his, and your bank accounts will get frozen. The tax man's coming for his, so you cannot escape that. You can't negotiate with them. You can only buy so much time for yourself, and when they decide your time is up, they're taking what's theirs. So, um, yeah, I guess my point there is getting a huge purse is, I mean, I get there's that ego thing, like, oh, I made $10 million in one night. I made $1 million in one night. That's nice. Guess how much you owe Uncle Sam out of that? Quite a bit. Maybe if you slowly made $10 million through a business venture, you'd then be subjected to a different tax structure. Just my 2 cents. Okay, so Charles also agrees that pay-per-view should be based on how good or bad the card is, 100%. Yeah, Uncle Sam is the real OG, the original, and there's no escaping him. Yeah, Uncle Sam is most definitely undefeated, David. Charles and David agreed. And you know what? I don't know what you called it. State tax entities, but they're also pretty undefeated as well. Um, and you know what really, really sucks is that you're guilty until you prove that you're innocent, right? When they make a mistake, you're still on the hook for their mistake until you correct them. And it's like a lot of hoops to jump through to get things straightened out. So I don't wish anybody ever runs into any issues with state or federal tax agencies because it's just a nightmare. Okay, we're still waiting for the next fight to come out. They're doing more promo right now for the co-main with Pena versus Pennington. What do you guys think of Kayla Harrison? Do you think she's overhyping herself? Do you think she'll live up to her own hype? Um, for sure, she's got a very wily manager, right? That Abdel Aziz dude. Um, he's got quite the roster of fighters that he manages. You want to see Kayla fight Cejudo? That's funny. I think she might be bigger than Cejudo, no? I mean, she used to fight at 178 pounds in judo, and so I don't know how she makes 135, but you know, Pena's said her opinion on that, right? Saying about all the female fighters at ATT stick needles in each other. Um, don't know how much truth there is to that. David saying he thinks Kate could beat the whole top 10 in one night. Uh, yeah. Um, I don't know. Maybe it is like, was it Nate Diaz says everybody's on steroids? It almost seems like that at this point that um, so many people are on PEDs. I mean, I see people in the gym who aren't even competitive. Like they're never going to compete in probably anything, and I'm highly suspicious of the fact that they look to me like they're on PEDs, and it's not so much that I can eyeball someone in one take and say, "Oh, you're on something," but it's when you see somebody over time change dramatically, either one way or the other, like they're scrawny and then within 2 months all of a sudden they're jacked, or vice versa. They walk in all jacked and then they go off their cycle and then they shrivel up. A clear giveaway. Here's a clear giveaway for guys who suddenly go off and then lose all their muscle. What these guys will do is they'll wear not one hoodie, they'll wear like double hoodies to cover up the fact that they've lost so much muscle mass that they're embarrassed. They no longer are walking all over the gym, prancing around with their shirt off, topless, sporting their big jacked muscles with all the vascularity. Oh, and that's another dead giveaway, is guys who are just permanently vascular, as we say. So there's a well-known individual who trains at boxing gyms in Los Angeles. And one of my friends pointed out to me that this dude gets done with his workout in the boxing gym, goes to the shower, takes a shower, changes, comes back out, and he's still vascular, meaning the veins are still popping out on his arms. So that's super, super, super sus. I would bet my next paycheck that guy is or was most definitely on something. It's neither here nor there, but again, he's a non-competitor. He's what I call a vanity boxer. He's definitely never going to compete in amateur or pro boxing. But I think he just likes the cachet of, going into a boxing gym and saying, "Oh yeah, I spar, I know what I'm doing, I'm legit." Oh, thank you so much, Joe. Gifted one HamaguchiFight membership. Very cool. To Robin Social. So awesome. Thank you, Joe, for your generosity. You are the best. Sorry guys, I'm not like I'm just gonna verbally say stuff. I'm because this is off my phone, so I don't have like the keyboard to type in thank you and all that, but I will verbally just say thank you so much to Joe. He's been a terrific member, and it's really generous and kind of him to gift a membership to Robin Social. Awesome, awesome. We now have another member in our midst, and Robin Social, congrats on getting your white belt. You rock. Joe, you rock. I really appreciate you. Joe has a ton of great insights about boxing, and he's been in the game for a long time, and he can cite and refer to historic fights and make connections. And I've learned a lot from Joe myself, so I really appreciate his input and his membership. Charles is saying yes. All you have to do is watch. Sooner or later, you can cite enhancements. Yes, most definitely. It's not so much like the straight eyeball look. Although sometimes those of us who've been around gyms have our suspicions, but it's definitely the delta, what I call the delta, right? The change over time. Because if that change happens too dramatically and too rapidly, like something's up. When some guy goes from having that gut and a little bit of boobs to within 10 weeks getting all ripped and shredded, something's up. I mean, I don't care if you're in your 20s still, you know? It's not legit. Okay, let's see. I think we got Kayla coming into the ring now, or the cage rather. Sorry guys, my stream seems to be kind of stalled, so I might have to refresh this and hopefully I don't lose everything. All right, just waiting. Hopefully my stream comes back on. So yeah, so just as far as enhancement goes, it's the sad thing to me is like way back in the day, I mean, I think the athletes that chose to be enhanced were doing it because they felt like, say, and it was definitely more of a guy thing than a girl thing at that point. Guys just felt they couldn't be competitive on an international scene unless they did some stuff. So when you're at a world class level and you have a chance of placing, or at the Olympics or World Championship, I can kind of understand that trade-off. You're one of the best in the world, and you want to be absolutely the best in the world. But what perplexes me is now it's like I see dudes who just like legit, they're never gonna take even they're not gonna do an amateur competition in anything. They never even probably played Little League or Pop Warner football. They never did. I don't know. I don't even know if they can play a vicious game of hopscotch. Like they're really uncoordinated. They're not athletic. They suddenly decide they're gonna do combat sports and they're late 20s, early 30s or something, and then I guess they figure they'll cut the line by taking some pills or injecting themselves. I don't know. And it's the most bizarre combination of someone who's sort of jacked and completely spastic. It's like bad combination to do a sparring session with a dude like that. It's like a nightmare. But it perplexes me, like, what is this dude thinking? Like, why do you want to do this at this point in your life when you never even played any sport? Why do you want to do combat sport, where there's a big risk? And then, I mean, I guess you're taking the enhancements because you think that's going to give you a leg up. But if you are an uncoordinated dude because you never played sports in your life, I, you know, doesn't matter how jacked you are, you're still gonna, you don't have the technical ability, you don't have the basic coordination, but even more than that, you don't have the mindset. Like these guys don't understand that practice is practice, competition is competition. They think practice is competition and they gotta win. And it's like, nah. All right, sorry guys. I'm not sure what's going on with my stream, but it's just loading and loading and loading forever. Thank you so much, Charles. I really appreciated you. And then we got one message held for review. Larry Liston. Right, we used to have tough man competitions. Yeah, I mean, like if that's something you want to do, then like go for it, you know what I mean? But it's these sort of uh it's just these guys who decide to become enhanced, having never done a sport ever in their life, even as a child, that got me kind of like confused. All right, guys, I might have to end this live stream just because my browser is sucking at the moment. Uh, Hang on. All right, I don't want to keep you guys on hold forever, but if you can bear with me just a little bit longer, I'm going to try to restart my whole stream. Let's see. Meaning the one I'm watching, not this one. Um, wow. So right now, I assume it's the Kayla Harrison, Ketlin Vieira fight going on. Who do you guys have in this one? Do you think Kayla Harrison is overhyped? Right, so I can't tell right now if this is actually a commercial break or my stream is just frozen, but how many of you guys watch women's MMA versus women's boxing? Do you guys watch women's boxing as well? Tell me what you think about each sport. Yeah, David, I agree. I mean, I wind up watching more women's MMA than I do women's boxing. I just feel like, unfortunately, with the women's boxing, it's the same thing as with boxing overall. There's just a lot of mismatches. Every now and again, there's a competitive fight, but I feel like a lot of it has to do with the boxing promoters, because what they've all done is sign one woman, like their token woman, and then they'll just bring in a bunch of B-sides that nobody's ever heard of to fight their one woman that they signed, right? So like Michaela Meyer with Bob Arum. I'm not even sure who is with Golden Boy at the moment. And then Eddie Hearn, to his credit, he does have a few more females on his roster, and he does. I got to give Matchroom Boxing a little bit more credit because they do try to make more competitive fights. But like, can you name any of Clarissa Shields' opponents? Can you name any of Michaela Meyer's opponents? Like, I can't, like, not off the top of my head, but you could definitely name some of Ronda Rousey's opponents. You could name some of Amanda Nunes's opponents, right? Because um, everybody was more or less, on that same level. They were in that upper level of like globally ranked, world ranked women's MMA fighters. Then they were fighting each other. So that's why there's that name recognition. But I mean, how many times do you want to see Clarissa Shields beat the crap out of somebody? I don't know, or Michaela for that matter. Although I think some of her more recent matches have been a little more competitive. Um, it's a disservice to women's boxing as a whole to just sign one female and then continually feed her these B-side opponents that are just not on the same level. So anyways, it doesn't help that female fighter get any better. It certainly does not help grow the sport. So even though that female fighter, wants it to be all about her, I mean, you got to understand that as an individual, there's no sport that's just about one individual like that. I mean, you've got to be willing to fight competitive fights if you want to even grow yourself as an athlete, as a fighter, and for, of course, for the sport to grow. If the sport grows, you grow. It's not like you can just be in there for like a one-shot deal and rise to the top and get out. It's like, I mean, I think that's why Clarissa Shields and a few other boxers decided they were going to cross over into MMA. Bad idea, by the way, if you've never done any type of grappling. But I think they chose to do that because they got super jealous of all the attention that someone like a Ronda Rousey got. She became a household name, whereas women boxers are nowhere near being a household name. Maybe boxing fans are aware of them, but certainly not just your average person walking around, which is unfortunate because, somebody like a Clarissa Shields, double gold medals at the Olympics. I mean, she could have been built into someone who's more well known, but between how she presents herself and other forces at play, that just did not quite gel. Yeah, David says building a boxing resumes. Yeah, turned me off of boxing for a long time. Yeah, agreed. I mean, in the end, what does that resume do if you're 20-0 and you've just fought like a series of tomato cans and opponents that got called at the last minute? Oh, here we go with Kayla versus Ketlin. Looks like Kayla's fighting out of her right-handed judo stance, which is a left-handed boxing stance. Again, I think that's a mistake personally, having been somebody who has done both judo and boxing. But and I'll explain why. Or I think I've mentioned it in some of my videos, but if you're right hand dominant, that should be your power punch, which means it should be in the rear. It should be a reverse punch, right? Because you have more chance of really damaging your left hand with a power punch because it's your non-dominant hand. All the muscles are not as well developed in your non-dominant hand. Okay, anyways, Kayla goes in with a punch, attempts to do a little knee tap, as we say, meaning go for a wrestling takedown, but abandons that because Caitlin just moves away. Both women are just kind of, their jabs are sort of doing the canceling out thing because Kayla's in a lefty stance and Caitlin's in a righty stance. So this is pretty much a stalemate, I would say, right now with the striking. Every now and again, Caitlin looks like she tries to throw a jab right hand. Again, Kayla tries to go for the knee tap takedown to no avail because Caitlin just avoids it. She just sees it coming and backs away. Now, one thing I will say about Kayla is that she's not as reliant on judo per se as Ronda was. And in fact, Kayla's judo style is not so great for MMA. And I'll explain in a second. What Kayla does have to her advantage that Ronda didn't have was Kayla actually did do wrestling as a child, and then I guess probably through high school at least. So she's super comfortable with wrestling takedowns, whereas Ronda was looking more to get a grip, so to speak, right? Like grab around the head, get an underhook to then set up her throws. Okay, right now Kayla has a right underhook with Caitlin against the fence. I can't tell what she's doing. Oh, yeah, she doesn't have wrist control yet, but she's just holding Caitlin against the fence with shoulder pressure. Caitlin got off the fence. Kayla's got her back against the fence, trying to go for some elbows. Caitlin's back is against the fence. Both ladies are in tight. Kayla's, they're both trying to exchange knees a bit. Neither one has a dominant grip. Caitlin circles out, but Kayla closes distance again. She's got Caitlin's back against the fence. She's got no, she doesn't have an underhook. Kayla has a wizard grip, switches to head grip, trying to get the elbows going. Kayla's trying to throw knees at Caitlin. Caitlin's got one hand free. She's kind of throwing punches. Caitlin's got her one arm kind of under, grabbing Kayla's back. Kayla has an over grip and an underhook and a kind of S grip behind Kayla's back, Caitlin's back. Kayla's just trying to throw knees, but they're not effective at all. Okay, and the ref is stopping them and breaking it up. There's about 20 seconds left in this round. Okay, again, both fighters try to exchange a jab right hand. Caitlin goes for an inside kick. Caitlin goes for a high head kick. Again, and that's the end of the round. And Harrison has a nasty hematoma right above her right eyebrow. It's cut. Not sure what that was from. It's turning into a nice little egg. I've been critical of UFC cut men in the past. My main criticism of these guys is they don't know how to use that end swell. This guy is just holding the end swell against the bump. And what really sucks is that to reduce swelling, you got to take that end swell and like literally iron the hematoma out, and it sucks. You gotta grab the back of the fighter's head, take that thing and like jam it into their whatever's swollen, whether it's above the eye or under the eye, and it hurts like whatever, right? But you have to do that. That's the only way to reduce swelling. You guys saw that the Frenchman Benoit Saint-Denis basically lost his fight because his eye closed, because they did not close the swelling. He had that huge mouse under his eye, and his cut man did not know how to reduce the swelling effectively. Okay, here we go. Both women bow to each other. I guess that's reference to the fact that they both do judo. Here's my prediction. If this goes to decision, they'll give the decision to Kayla regardless. Um, Ketlin basically needs to be super dominant or get a stoppage in order to win the fight. All right, unfortunately my stream is stalled again. Let me just see if I can refresh. Yes, no doubt. David Jenkins is saying no doubt they want to make the Kayla versus Amanda fight so bad. I'm sure Kayla wants that also. I wonder if Amanda is willing to um, put herself through the discomfort of training camps again. Uh, I don't know. And personally, I don't think Kayla has the striking ability to hang in there with Nunes, but she does have a very big frame. That's, she's got a big size, upper body size advantage for sure. So, if she can close the distance and get underhooks, get an underhook, she might be able to take it to Amanda. But as far as the striking goes, I think Amanda outstrikes her pretty much every day of the week. Right now, just finally getting the stream back. It looks like Kayla has top position with Ketlin on the ground. So yeah, I think they're going to give Kayla the decision here. Ketlin basically just needs a stoppage somehow. And from bottom position, um, holding Kayla in full guard, she's not going to get a sub from that position. There's about 2 minutes left in this match. So Kayla's just in Ketlin's full guard, full close guard. Ketlin's trying to, strike from bottom position and then just hug Kayla's head. So Kayla can't strike her, but it's not going to get her the W. And Kayla just will rear up every now and again, try to administer some ground and pound. Yeah, Kayla's trying to administer some elbows from that closed full guard, but with less than a minute and a half to go, Ketlin needs to get back to her feet. But that's way easier said than done. Um, I mean, by keeping Kayla in full closed guard, that minimizes damage, but it's not going to get her the W, so I'm sure she knows that. Okay, now Kayla's in half guard. We've got less than a minute to go. Oh, now Kayla was able to get out of half guard to full mount. And she'll probably just start wailing. Yeah, now she's got high full mount, and she's just going to try to keep wailing down on Ketlin. She's trying to grab Kayla's head or keep her in place. Oh, now she's giving up her back to Kayla. Kayla only has one hook in, but she's going for. Oh, she lost the rear naked choke position. Ketlin has got her upper back against the cage, but Kayla gets her back down on the ground. We got less than 20 seconds here. Ketlin's got half guard. Kayla just needs to hang on here for another few seconds. 5. And Kayla gets up to her feet. And that's it. That's the match. So I'm pretty sure Kayla gets the decision there. And the respective cutmen are just wiping off each fighter. And they're showing in the highlights. It's like they're trying to make the most of Kayla for sure. Here, showing all the things that she did well. Um, yeah, Cutman is still trying to bring down that swelling on Kayla's forehead. But again, it's like you just rubbing the ice on it is not going to do it. You got to be mean and cruel to the fighter if you want to bring that swelling down. Oh, now he's like pressing it with a Q-tip. Okay, good job, dude. Kayla takes a drink of her monster drink, or maybe that's just something in a monster can. I don't know. But let's see. Yeah, they give Kayla the decision. No surprise. Okay, well, that was not shocking. Um, so both women show each other some respect and hug it out. There's a few nasty words. They were a little bit mean to each other at the press conference, but it's all expected. Both of them are like now needed. They're both on both knees, kind of holding hands together. I know they're both God-fearing women, so I think that probably has something to do with it. Why do I think the cut men are so lacking in MMA? I have no idea. I mean, I think partially it's like they did some weird. I don't know how MMA got away with this, David, but as a fighter, I want to pick my cut man. Like my cut man is like another trainer in a sense. Like you want your cut man and your trainer to be able to work together really well. And I've been super lucky in that I had two of the best in the business. The late great Al Gavin worked my corner a couple times. He was out of New York. I was out of New York, so a couple times he just happened to line up on the same card, Joe DeGuardia's card, Star Boxing, and Al was gracious enough to work my corner. He really helped me out a lot. And then I also had Joe Souza work my corner a couple of times, and again, terrific cut men. They're both the best in business. It's not just about like how do you close a cut, because you hope you don't get the cut, but they know how to talk to you. They know how to revive you between rounds. That's a huge thing. And they know how to help prep you in the change room before you go out there, and they know how to help you out in the change room after you're done. But it's not like a simple thing to learn how to be an effective cutman. So I don't know why it is that like the UFC, I guess, is it the UFC that hires these cutmen because they all wear the same weird uniform that has their name on their back? And I don't know how the UFC worked that out with the commissions, right? Um, but I guess it's always the same cutman working the whole card. Like you as the fighter don't get to bring your own cutman, and I would sure as heck want that, as a fighter. I mean, I would basically consider my cutman to be a trainer, because all good cutmen can also serve as boxing trainers. They just choose to work as a cutman as well. If you think about it, monetary wise, it's actually monetary and time wise, being a cutman is not a bad gig at all, because you could get 2% of the purse. If it's a big purse, that matters, but let's say it's smaller purses, so people are probably going to throw you $20-$40, but it's not like you ever had to train that guy in the gym. You just get to be there at the fights, work his corner, and maybe you collect $20, $40, $60, but you could work 8 fights in one night, right? So you go home with a little chunk of change, and there's zero commitment. So a way better deal in a sense than being a trainer, where you're like, you devote, I mean, hours every day, and you get 10% of $1,000, $2,000. Like you got paid less than a penny an hour probably when it all gets calculated out. But I mean, that's a great question, David. I should probably look into that just out of my own curiosity, like where these cut men, like, are they on the UFC payroll? And UFC fighters are obligated to use them. I mean, if I were, I would want my own cut men, or I mean, a lot of boxing trainers, they do both. Like, they're like, don't worry, I'll work the cuts. Now they always need to have, by law, there has to be the trainer and an assistant in the corner. But a lot of boxing trainers know how to close cuts, and they would rather be the one closing the cut for their fighter, because then they can still be face to face with their fighter, closing the cut and talking to them, giving directions. So they let the assistant know, hey, I'll do the cuts. I just need you to rinse the mouthpiece or whatever it is they need them to do. But yeah, I guess part of it is these MMA cutmen were never fighters themselves, so they don't know. But yeah, they should learn from some of the best in the boxing world, I think. That was the key when I did pick Joe Souza's brain a little bit about working cuts, and I asked him, what's the key, what are the key things? And he said pressure, no matter what kind of cut it is, whether it's like over the eyebrow, under the eye, or on the cheek, nose, forehead, or the worst is if it's on the scalp somewhere, because then you got to like deal with all the hair. He said no matter what it is, pressure, you need to apply pressure to close the cut. And in my opinion, that's what these MMA cutmen are not doing. They're not applying enough pressure. Okay, so next up we have the talker, Kevin Holland, versus Roman Dolidze. I think that's how you say his name. So this will be interesting, maybe. They're showing Dolidze's highlights. I honestly don't know much about Roman at all, except it seems like he likes to go hiking from those UFC embeddeds. And of course, I think a lot of us are familiar with Kevin Holland because he's such an outgoing personality, loves talking to his opponents in the ring. Seems fairly well-rounded in that he's happy to get a win via striking or grappling. So this could be interesting. But I will say this, physique-wise, Holland looks a little skinnier than when he was at a higher weight division, so I don't know if that's going to come into play here. Roman looks like the slightly bulkier fighter in terms of upper body muscle mass. Oh yeah, Stitch. Now, was that because Stitch had his own sponsors or something, and at some point, I guess cutmen would put like patches or whatever on their jackets? I don't know. Yeah, but never worked with Stitch, but I mean, I do know that he has a great reputation. He already had a reputation as a cutman for boxing, so no doubt he knows the craft. Here's the other thing. This is another sort of aside. I've noticed when they show footage of the change room that I've watched cutmen wrapping hands, in my opinion, the wrong way. Certain way. There's a couple of rules for wrapping, for hand wrapping, and I've learned that from not only my boxing trainer Lennox Blackmore, but all of these two rules were reiterated by the late Hector Roca, who's also a great hand wrapper. I've watched Freddie Roach wrap his fighters' hands many times, And there's a couple of golden rules that you don't break when you're wrapping somebody's hands. And I've seen, at least on camera, some of these UFC cut men doing it, breaking these rules, that these two golden rules that I was taught by all of these highly competent expert boxing trainers. So, go figure. Again, then there's some fighters who prefer to wrap their own hands, because in the end, you as the fighter know how you want it exactly to feel. So even though Manny Pacquiao has someone as good as Freddie Roach to wrap his hands, Manny would always wrap his own hands for practice and then for the fight itself. I can understand that. He just knows how he wants it to feel. If you do it every day in the gym, you don't want to suddenly change something for the fight. Okay, so Roman's now making his way to the cage, just getting ready to get checked out by the cut man and the ref. So here's another thing I noticed at the ceremonial weigh-ins, in terms of like UFC being sort of control freaks, right? Every time they announced the two fighters that were matched up, the first person who came out onto the stage for the ceremonial weigh-in was wearing sort of that beige color camo outfit, and the second person that got announced was always wearing the black camo outfit. So there's no way that's a coincidence. I'm going to assume the UFC told them, you are going to wear the beige. Pick, it might have been a t-shirt and some track pants. I guess they had their choice of the actual items, but they had to pick that color. So first person out got beige, second person out got black. And I'm not sure what the reasoning is behind that. If UFC just wants everything super uniform, pun intended, and super, they just want to control everything. Like, I don't know. You can't wear your street clothes for the ceremonial weigh-in. You can't wear your most comfy stuff for the weigh-in. You got to wear our sponsor stuff. That being Venom. In any case. So they're just still going over the announcements for Kevin Holland and Roman Dolidze. Here's Bruce Buffer. Okay, he's announcing Kevin Holland. And camera's panning to the crowd. It looks like almost every seat's full. I'd say it's at least 85% full in the stands. Now Bruce Buffer is announcing Roman Dolidze. Oh, David's asking, could I do a video about the hand wrapping mistakes? I see. Okay, I thought about doing a hand wrapping video. It's just like, it seems like everyone and their dog's done a hand wrapping video, but I will do one. Why not? David, do I see you as a subscriber on this channel already? Like, I'm not sure that, maybe you use a different name. But it'd be awesome if you subscribed or even joined as a member. Right now, memberships are $2.99 a month, and you get early access to the long videos, and you get some members-only polls and whatnot. As soon as I get paid out by YouTube, I will be donating part of 10% of the gross to a charity, and we as members will figure out what that is going to be. So David, yeah, please do consider either subscribing or becoming a member. That would be awesome. I appreciate your input. Okay, so this fight between Delize and Holland is underway. They're mostly maintaining distance from each other. Holland seems to be kind of circling around the cage on the outside, whereas Delize is kind of holding down the center. Holland's going for a jab, inside kick. Nothing very effective. Low calf kick. And Delize is just slowly making his way forward, kind of hunting Holland down. Holland again goes for a jab to the body. There's a little bit of an exchange there, but nothing significant lands for either man. Oh, Holland gets off a decent jab right hand. Holland again going for a calf kick, circling around. He's still on the outside. Roman is still sort of taking small steps forward, gets a takedown. He's in Holland's guard. Roman's got top position. Kevin Holland has closed guard. He's locked up a triangle there around Roman's waist. Roman's just keeping his head buried in Kevin Holland's chest. And occasionally Roman's trying to land strikes. Now he's got two underhooks. Oh, he's got one underhook. Holland's trying to hug Roman's head just to keep everything neutral. And Roman's trying to administer some punches to Holland's torso and then come up to his head. Holland's still flat on his back and got Roman in closed guard. So this is not terribly effective for either fighter. Holland is slowly inching his way backwards towards the cage. There's a little bit over a minute left to go, but I mean, Roman figured that out, so he kind of rotated around. So now Holland's facing away from the cage. And so that was a smart move on Roman's part. And Roman's now sort of slowly inching the two of them away from the cage. Still in Holland's full guard. Oh, now Holland looks like he's trying to go for an armbar or something, loses it. Oh, and he got himself in a bad position where Roman's just able to administer a lot of ground and pound. Kevin's trying to cover up and move his body, move his head. But now Roman worked his way into full mount, full high mount, and is just administering ground and pound. Less than 30 seconds left to go. Holland is still active, trying to cover up. But Roman's just raining down with elbows and punches. I don't think the ref's going to stop it here. There's just a couple seconds left. That's it. That's the round. But I think we got to give that round to Roman for sure. Holland does not look happy. He's making kind of very odd faces right now. Certainly not his typical smarty pants self. And again, the cut man's trying to do something to his face with the end swell. So there seems to be some discrepancy here, but whether, oh, yeah, the ref's waving the fight off. So I'm not sure. So they're saying something about it, Kevin's rib being fractured or something. So I don't know if, yeah, I guess his corner just called it off. But in any case, Roman gets the W for that. So that was kind of anticlimactic. I'm guessing that happened during the ground and pound because Kevin was in bottom position for quite some time, or it might have been during scramble on the ground. All right, but congrats to Roman Dolidze because he gets the W, and apparently his coach is now promoting him to black belt. Interesting. In jiu-jitsu, I assume. Yeah. You don't often see Kevin Holland at a loss for words, but I guess he's in enough pain that rib is hurting him, so he is not his usual self. Okay, and now Joe Rogan is congratulating and interviewing Roman. Yeah, David, I don't know much. David says Roman must be a beast in grappling, and I don't know much about him at all. Just based on the fact that he's Georgian, of Georgian heritage. Um, there's a form of traditional Georgian wrestling. I can't remember the name of it, but it just um, all the young boys used to do that, or I guess maybe a lot of them still do. But basically, they just wear like a belt and some shorts, and so they reach over each other's back and they're kind of bent over, and they'll grab the belt and then they just start wrestling. But what that led to sort of was that there's a lot of Georgians who are very good at judo. Um, just like there's a lot of Mongolians who are very good at judo because they have a traditional Mongolian wrestling style that, oddly enough, involves just wearing sleeves and no lapels. So it's like sleeves, and then there's something that goes around your waist to kind of hold everything together. But people who come from a culture where there's like a traditional wrestling that's usually it's part of like some sort of cultural festival where they'll have wrestling matches, often to music, and I'm sure lots of food and drink afterwards and all that. But a lot of these cultures are able to adapt their traditional wrestling style to judo, and so they have some very strong grapplers that come from those traditions, whether it's Mongolia, Georgia, Armenia. Of course, in Russia, there's the sambo, which is more modern than these older forms of wrestling. Um, but in any case, yeah, I would imagine that Roman is a pretty strong grappler. Interestingly enough, Georgia has always been sort of a powerhouse in men's judo. So for the longest time, I knew that there's this place called Tbilisi in Georgia because there's a big judo tournament. You know, the Tbilisi tournament was a big deal um, since, I guess, like since the 70s. Okay, so it looks like Jose Aldo, who looks super skinny, almost concerningly skinny, is up against a fellow who looks pretty young. Um, Gosh, can't remember his name off the bat, but I'm sure they'll flash it on the screen in a moment. Um, so I'm wondering, how many more fights does Jose Aldo have? So I hope Jose looks good in this fight, or at least doesn't look really washed up. Oh, it's Mario Bautista. He's an American. He's entering the cage first. So Cutman is applying the Vaseline to him. Again, almost something I'd rather my trainer does, or given that you have MMA gloves, I mean, you could almost do it yourself. Okay, referee's checking out Bautista's gloves. Okay, Bautista's in the ring, just kind of moving around now. And we're waiting for Jose Aldo. All right. What are you guys' favorite Jose Aldo fights? Do you think he should still be fighting? I'm not even sure how old he is, but in my opinion, it's really more, how many fights have you been through, as opposed to your age. How many hard fights have you been through? I think that's what, in the end, can take it out of a fighter, and it's also just partly, how they're built themselves. I mean, everybody's built differently, and some people can endure more than others. So Jose Aldo's entering the ring now wearing a crown, which is sort of an overused cliche amongst the boxers for sure. Like, how many boxers stick a crown on their head? Okay, we have Ryan, we have Tyson Fury, we have Canelo, we have Teofimo Lopez. It's almost like how many boxers have not stuck a crown on their head. Anyways, the irony I find with that, of course, is that in a true coronation, nobody sticks the crown on their own head. Somebody else puts the crown on your head. But that's just me. I guess, hey, everyone gets a trophy, everyone gets a crown. It kind of makes the whole crown thing meaningless if everyone's doing it, right? David says his favorite Aldo fights were ones where he destroyed people with his leg kicks. Yeah, for sure. That's a great point. Let's see if we see any more of those famous leg kicks tonight versus this fellow Bautista. Okay, the ref is now checking out Jose Aldo. Okay, Jose Aldo's now in the cage. And both fighters are just kind of waiting right by their corner. I hope we do see a decent performance out of Jose. Did I see all those boxing fights? No, I did not. Were they any good, David? Is it worth watching Jose Aldo's boxing matches? Okay, so now Bruce Buffer is making the formal announcements. We have both fighters just kind of bouncing around while Bruce Buffer does his thing. For any of you guys who are New York residents, I don't know if you remember way back when Bruce Buffer actually used to do this commercial. I think it was for the New York State Lotto. That was just an aside, but I don't know. Maybe it's out there somewhere on YouTube land. Bruce Buffer doing New York Lotto ads. But it's kind of interesting the fact that he and Michael Buffer are half brothers, right? What are the odds that that would happen where both men are become announcers, right? One in MMA, one in boxing, and they are the voice of announcing for those respective sports. Okay, Mike Beltran once again looks like he's the ref for this. Okay, and the fight is now underway. Right away, we got Bautista being more sort of bouncy and active, more movement. He's going for kicks, low and high. He's now pressed Jose towards the edge of the cage. Jose is just trying to maintain a high double guard. Hasn't really thrown anything significant just yet. Both Jose and Bautista are fighting out of orthodox stance. Bautista just went for double jab, right hand. Now he went in for a takedown. He's got an underhook on Jose, got Jose's back against the cage. Just kind of using shoulder pressure to keep Jose's back against the cage. Jose sort of has a whizzer grip. Yeah, now he has a whizzer. And both men are trying to exchange knees to the body. Bautista's trying to pop his shoulder. Also, use his shoulder as a weapon. Both men are just trying to sort of exchange knee strikes, but not very effective. Bautista looks like he's trying to level change and go for single. Jose's defending that. Now Bautista's back up. Bautista's keeping good pressure to keep Aldo from circling off the cage. But okay, now Jose circled out, and the action is backed to center. Again, Bautista's the more active striker here, throwing jabs and right hands. Oh, Jose just threw a 1-2. Didn't really land. Bautista just landed a jab right hand. Bautista switches to southpaw stance. Back to righty. Shoots in for doubles. Got Jose pressed against the cage again. Again, Bautista's got underhook. Jose's defending with the wizard grip. Both men look like they're fighting for the opposite hand control. Bautista's just pressing Jose up against the cage, sort of throwing knees. But with less than a minute and a half to go, probably have to give the round thus far to Bautista because Jose just has not been active enough to justify giving him this round, unless he does something significant in the next 60 seconds. All right, now he's starting to open up a little bit and throw some hard strikes. Oh, but Bautista just landed a good right hand off a jab. Jose is getting a few strikes in there, but it's not going to be enough, I don't think, to justify giving him this round. Ironically, Bautista is throwing more kicks than Jose is. Oh, Jose just lands a decent right hand. There's less than 20 seconds to go. 10. And that's the round. Okay, both men shake hands at the end of the round. All right, another side note, these cornermen also don't know what they're doing with the ice packs. You can't just like rub an ice pack all over somebody. You're supposed to put it somewhere and kind of leave it there for a moment. But, again. Interesting. The one highlight they show between rounds is of Jose sweeping away Bautista's attempted leg kick. It's kind of an odd choice of highlights considering there were some decent strikes landed. In any case, okay, both men touch gloves to begin the second round. And again, it looks like Bautista is the one sort of applying pressure here to Jose. Jose looks like he's going to start to step forward a little more in this round. Oh, and Jose lands a decent jab. Another decent jab. It looks like he's drawn some blood above the eye of Bautista. Bautista shoots in for a single, unsuccessfully. Jose's just bouncing around on his other foot and then turns and pulls his foot out from the single attempt. Okay, looks like Jose's starting to open up now with his strikes, but Bautista is also picking it up and lands a few good jabs. Right hand. All right, Bautista's keeping up constant pressure, which is good with his strikes. Both men are exchanging a little more now. And Jose is kind of doing that showboat boxing defense thing by trying to be showing kind of like slick slips and whatnot. Bautista's worked his way back to that position with Jose's back against the cage. Bautista's got a right underhook using shoulder pressure to keep Jose's back against the cage. Well, actually, no, he doesn't have an underhook. He's got a bit of an over grab. Jose now has an underhook. But Jose, is still got his back against the cage. And Bautista's trying to, again, use his right shoulder as a weapon and strike Jose with that shoulder. Okay, now Bautista's worked his way to the underhook. Jose's defending with the wizard grip. And they're fighting for hand position with their other hand, meaning Jose's right and Bautista's left. Bautista's still got Jose pressed up against the cage using head and shoulder control. Looked like he was going to level change there to go for a double or a single, but now he's back up. Oh, trying to do more shoulder strikes. Okay, and he circles off now, back to striking. Jose's getting a little bit wide with his strikes, so hope he doesn't set himself up to get countered with that. Oh, Jose lands a decent jab. It's probably been his best weapon thus far in the fight. Surprisingly, it's not, his kicks. Again, Bautista goes for a 1-2 and then straight into takedown mode where he's got Jose pressed against the cage, using shoulder pressure, trying to get wrist control with his left hand. All right, my stream is stalled, so hopefully it comes back in a second. Sorry for the stall, guys. That's my neighbor's music, by the way, if you can hear music in the background. Okay, let's see if I can get this stream back. Okay, sorry for the delay. Let's hope we can get this back. And what's been one of your favorite boxing fights this year so far? I mean, the cliche is as goes the heavyweight division, so goes the state of boxing. And fortunately, we've had some awesome heavyweight boxing fights this year. I think we've had some terrific upsets, to be honest. I don't really consider Bacoli defeating Jared Anderson an upset, and I don't really consider Dubois defeating Joshua an upset, but those were great fights. Maybe they were the so-called underdog winning, but in any case, okay, so back to UFC action. I think this is the third and final round. Bautista's definitely the more active striker again, throwing to both head and body of Jose. Although Jose's trying to pick the pace up, you can tell he's landing some decent jabs. But I don't know, I don't know if he's still, as they say, got it in terms of willingness to be aggressive and just kind of go for it. Does not look that great for Jose. He's now fighting with his mouth open, so I don't know if that's just typically what he does, but Bautista is certainly, for all three rounds, more playing the role of the hunter than the hunted, and Jose looks like he's now being hunted. His volume is not as high as it was the previous round, and in my opinion, he does need to get a big win this round if he wants the decision. Fury getting smashed was incredibly satisfying. That's interesting. Haha. David, who do you have for the rematch, Fury and Usyk? Do you think that fight actually happens, or do you think Fury gets hurt or cut again? Do you think Dubois has earned the right to call out either Fury or Usyk? Okay, now Bautista has Jose against the cage once again. Got that right underhook. Jose's defending with his left wizard grip. Oh, and looks like Bautista went for a takedown, didn't get it. Now he's just trying to knee Jose, trying to get Jose to the ground. I mean, I think they pretty much have to give Bautista the decision in this fight, simply for being the one to exert control over the fight. Looks like Bautista dropped down, changed level. Jose's still defending well with that wizard grip and using, the bent leg defense to kind of keep Bautista from taking him down. Now Beltran has enough of that, breaks him up, brings him back to center. Immediately, Bautista shoots in for a double to no avail, but again presses Jose up against the cage. A smart strategy on Bautista's part to just show dominance and avoid any of Aldo's striking by just keeping him pressed up against the cage. Though it does not make for a very exciting fight, it's a smart tactic to use against someone who's a veteran striker, such as Jose Aldo, who would always have a puncher's chance, as we say, but not if he's tied up with his back towards the cage. You can't really get off any effective strikes from that position. So I think Bautista's going to get the decision pretty handily here. Now they're both off the cage. Jose's throwing a few punches. We've got literally less than 45 seconds to go. Jose lands a decent one too. But quite honestly, I think he needs a stoppage to get this fight. And again, Bautista's got him pressed up with his back towards the cage. using shoulder control. And just pressing Jose up against the cage. I think he's just going to try to kill time here. There's only 5 seconds left. Jose is going for it with his strikes, but that's the fight right there. All right, so in my opinion, Jose Aldo did not look great. So I don't know if he's ready to call it a career or not, but if he does, I couldn't blame him. So I'm curious to know what exactly inspired Jose Aldo to unretire from MMA, but I don't know. Just he didn't look terribly inspired in this fight, and that's kind of like what I would want to see from him if he wants to stick around for a few more fights. I mean, you got to come out guns blazing, show us something, show us that you really want to be here. If you retire and then come back, you got to make a big statement, in my opinion. All right, so now his cornerman stuck his crown back on his head and is carrying him around on his shoulders, but I don't know. The crown thing is not I don't know about that. A lot like the Marab fight. Interesting. You mean Marab and Aldo, David? Or you mean Marab's last fight? Okay, so now he took the crown off. Okay, that's better. But honestly, I don't see how they can even give Jose Aldo one round here. But okay, here we go for the decision. Okay, Jose's got the crown back on. How about that? Okay. What? Right, so far the judges are split. Yeah. Split decision 29-28, 29-28. Bautista. I mean, yeah, he pretty much had to give it to him. I guess they gave Jose round 2. Jose's acting like he's all disappointed, but quite frankly, he just did not exert enough volume. He didn't have enough output. Okay, sorry. David saying Marab controlled Aldo, but Aldo somehow thought he won. Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is, too. If Aldo sincerely does believe he won that, I mean, he totally didn't. Joe Rogan is now interviewing Mario Bautista, asking about. Right, and Rogan's acknowledging the fact that Bautista did what he had to do to win the fight, whether that's fan friendly or not. We're erring on the side of not fan friendly fight, but yeah, I think it was a smart strategy, right? Just like, excuse me, get Jose in a position where his back is towards the cage, and then shoot in as if you're going to go for the takedown, just to press him up against the cage and effectively kill time, but show that you're dominant and not let the striker strike. I mean, why not? You know. I guess I don't know. I don't know why Jose thought he won that fight. If it was like you don't win by defending. You win for effective offense. You know what I mean? You don't get points because you didn't get taken down by someone who Might have taken you down. Okay, so now the camera's panning over to a whole bunch of people that I have no idea who they are. Okay, except I recognize Misha Tate. Is that Cowboy Cerrone with a cowboy hat? Um, Hyphy. Yes, live. What's up? Well, yeah, this was a surprise even for me just because I'm sick. I don't know if you can tell by my voice, so I went nowhere. Like, I didn't go anywhere to see the fight, so I'm stuck in the house. I figured I might as well do a live while I can. Um, my opinion, all you guys, you should not watch me do a live about any fights ever. You should go out, have a good time with your friends, have a few adult beverages, maybe have some food, but kick back, make a few little side bets with your friends, talk mess, and enjoy the fights. Like, have it be a social event. That's where I sort of wish I could do that tonight, but yeah, I'm like under the weather, so that would not be a good idea to go give my germs to a whole bunch of people, right? So here I am inside. But I'm happy, I'm happy to do this live stream with you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and commenting and everything. I will apologize for not commenting back and type simply because this is my phone, right? I'm not adept at like typing in and doing the live at the same time. Maybe if I was on a laptop, but the camera, quite honestly, on my laptop kind of sucks. So, in any case, hope you guys are enjoying the UFC fights. I mean, as people have pointed out, not a great card. Um, yeah, what can we say? I hope none of you guys are using your last few pennies to pay for this, to watch this card, because it's not worth your last few pennies, that's for sure. Um, but some of us are just fight fans and we love to see a scrap, so here we are, right? So now they're doing a little promo for Topuria Holloway. How do you guys think that one will go? Interesting matchup. I will definitely root for Max just because I'm a Max fan. Um, Hopefully he comes in like 100% healthy, because when we see Max in top condition, he's so incredibly capable. He's such a great athlete and he's a great fighter, full of heart, and very skillful. So I hope that's the Max Holloway we get to see versus Ilia Topuria. But that's an interesting matchup. What do you guys think of Topuria drinking a whole bunch of red wine? What is it, 2 nights before? Or is it the night before he weighs in or something? I don't know if that's just a thing he does for attention or if it's legit, but um, I don't know. If you come from a sort of culture or background where, drinking red wine is like just red wine and beer, just other beverages that you drink, with dinner, then maybe your system gets all used to it, so it's no big deal, right? But seeing as I don't drink ever, like that would not be a good thing for something for me to do before I even go to work out the next day, like before a heavy sparring day. I don't think it'd be a good idea for me to consume any alcohol. But tell me what you guys think about that Ilia Topuria wine ritual or habit or whatever you want to call it. So now, yeah, that was the promo for Topuria Holloway. Who do you guys have in that matchup? Although my heart will be with Holloway, I most certainly think that Topuria has a certain amount of momentum on his side, for sure. And he's a highly skillful striker as well, so that will be an interesting matchup. Okay, now they're doing a little ad for Power Slap. Have you guys ever watched Power Slap? What do you think of it? I mean, I can remember I first noticed it like during the pandemic, scrolling around on Instagram and stuff. And I think the appeal is it's so fast and it's over so quickly. I would kind of liken it a little bit to sumo matches because they're so fast. As one of my friends said, they're like eating potato chips because you're not going to stop at just one. You're going to keep watching, right? It takes a matter of seconds to have the whole competition over and done with from start to finish. So you might as well watch the whole card, as we call it. I guess you call it for Power Slap. Now the funny thing is, Dana calls these guys fighters, but I don't know. I don't really consider them. I don't consider power slappers to be fighters per se, because it's like you got to stand there and take the slap. Like it's not really a fight. I don't know. It's not like you get to bob and weave and roll under the slap. So I don't know what you want to call that, but um, I mean, I respect the fact that Dana built it into a successful business venture. Um, Not my thing. I actually did watch some of the sort of, um, I guess it's like their reality show about the fighters or about the slappers, right? That was kind of interesting, but I don't find it that compelling that I'm gonna really make it a point to watch any power slap. How about you guys? What do you think of power slap? Let me know in the comments. Okay, now they're doing a promo for Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena. I do think Pennington is the more technical striker than Pena. I feel like Juliana Pena's hands, she's a little bit open sometimes. Like she'll do the bow and arrow thing where she'll pull back the hand that should be covering as she throws out one punch. But she is tenacious. On the other hand, so is Pennington. So this will be interesting. I think it'll be an interesting fight to see. My only concern for Pennington is sometimes she sort of fades towards the end of the round where it's like, it's close and she could eke out a W, but she kind of fades towards the end. So if that starts to happen, I think Pena will be on her like just like a ton of bricks because I think, Pena's just one of those, like, she's super tenacious. So um, technique aside, she'll just be there nonstop. All right, so we're just doing the whole flashback to when both Pena and Pennington were in The Ultimate Fighter. Interestingly enough, Pennington was on Miesha Tate's team. I'm not sure if Pena was on Ronda Rousey's team or if she was also. I know she was also. I don't know. She was on Miesha Tate's team, but in any case, they keep running that narrative back about how both women were on that season of The Ultimate Fighter and had this sort of rivalry thing going or mutual dislike thing going, and now they get to settle the score in the cage finally for a belt. So do you guys think it was just a fluke that Pena managed to upset Amanda Nunes? That Nunes was just not on her A game at all in that first fight? I mean, it is pretty impressive that Pena managed to choke out or get Nunes to tap off a choke, right? Can't really take that W away from her, but Pennington is quite the athlete herself. I mean, I understand she didn't really have a martial arts background; that she just had more of an all-round sports background. So, props to her for, switching that over to combat sport and dealing with it. Okay, so now we're doing the whole hype thing with the lights flashing and all that stuff. As I guess we're getting ready for the fighters to do their ring walk. All right, I'm going to step away for 1 second to get more water. All right. Yep, we got the fighters making their way to the cage now, so the fight should be underway shortly. Pennington versus Pena. I'll be right back. All right, tell me who you guys have for this fight, Pennington or Pena? Probably shouldn't be drinking any coffee this late at night, but oh well. My sleep cycle is all thrown off since I've been under the weather. Cheers. It's a Zycam. Not the best thing because they're full of sugar, but it's what I got. Okay, Pena's hugging up her corner and taking a sip of water. About to get okay, she's got the cut man putting the Vaseline on. And being checked out by the official, giving the okay to get in the ring. So I'm guessing the whole gold glove thing is for when fighters in the UFC fight for a belt, they get to wear the gold gloves instead of black gloves. Yeah, I don't know. Not sure if, I guess that's just more branding that the UFC wants to do. Anyways, I wonder if there's any difference between the gold gloves and the black gloves. Now, the reason I ask that is because sometimes I've noticed with boxing gloves, certain colors don't work out so well. So, like for the silver and gold headgear, they're made out of leather and then I guess painted those metallic colors, but those colors tend to wear off faster. So then your headgear, or at least my headgear, winds up wearing out faster. The only reason I got a silver headgear was because that was the only color available in that brand at the time. My pick would not be anything metallic. It would be just standard. Typically, I go with white, but it can't be picky sometimes when you're shopping with a budget for sparring gear. Okay, Pennington's making her way to the cage. Walking out, looks pretty calm. Nope. Sweet, she's giving a kiss to her baby girl. And hugging up her corner. I don't know. I always thought that was kind of a weird thing for MMA fighters to like do all the hugging stuff before they get in the cage. It's like boxers just like tap fists with their cornerman. Don't get all huggy and stuff, really. In any case, I mean, it's just a thing, I suppose. Okay, so her cut man is Don House. He's putting on the grease. Here's another weird thought I just had. So I noticed all the cut men wear the latex gloves when they apply the grease. Now, what if somebody has an allergy to latex? I don't know. It happens, right? Like, you see that. That's one of the things they ask you about when you're in the hospital or going to be hospitalized, whatever. Like, do you have a allergy to latex? Yeah. Anyways, okay. So Pennington's about to get into the cage. She looks like she's just doing. She's crossing herself. Okay, and now she walks into the cage. All right, I hope we see something from Pennington. I'm rooting for her. It's almost sort of like just because I'm not really a Juliana Pena fan, but all right. Bruce Buffer is now making the announcements. Who do you guys have in this fight? Who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for Juliana Pena or are you rooting for the champion Raquel Pennington to retain her belt? Definitely rooting for Pennington. However, I think Pena's fully capable of getting the W here via KO, via TKO. Okay, Bruce Buffer is announcing Juliana's name now. Pena does look intense and she does look confident. I'll give her that much. Um, Now Bruce Buffer is introducing Raquel Pennington. Now, Pennington definitely does not look animated, but I assume that's just her demeanor in general. Okay, and Pennington acknowledges the crowd. I think the referee's Mike Goddard, if I'm not mistaken. We're about to get underway. So Pena all bouncy, and Pennington a little more calmer. All right, and we're off. Okay, both women come out in orthodox stance, right to the center of the cage. Pennington opens with a double jab. Don't land, but again with a jab from Pennington. Both women have fairly high guard. Okay, now Pena opens up with a double jab. But both women are basically just kind of sizing each other up, I think, and trying to look for an opening. Pennington throws a jab. Pena tries to counter with a hook. Pennington goes with a kick, misses. Pennington throws another single jab. Pena jabs. Pennington throws a double jab. Oh, Pennington lands the jab. It kind of knocks Pena back a little bit, off balance. Pena comes back with a double jab, but Pennington just backs up to kind of diffuse the jab. Both women are just maintaining a high double guard and kind of peering at each other. They both simultaneously exchange jabs, but neither one has landed a really effective strike just yet. Again, both women are just kind of peering at each other through their high double guard, looking for openings. It looks like Pennington's trying to counter Pena. So Pennington will throw a jab. Pena parries. But it looks like Pennington is trying to be a little more active with her upper body movement, trying to make feinting motions. And Pena's just kind of taking small steps, either forward or backwards, kind of being a little bit like a stalker. So we're past the halfway point of the first round, and not a lot of action from either fighter at this point. We're getting a lot of sort of simultaneous jabs being thrown by both fighters. Oh, and Pennington lands a good right kind of hybrid punch, kind of an uppercut. Pena comes back with a jab 1-2. Oh, and it looks like Pennington maybe hurt Pena a little bit there because she stumbled back into the cage. Pennington is still sort of pressing forward. We've got about a minute left. Pennington goes for a calf kick. Pena tries to punch back. Pennington back with a double jab. Again, Pennington opens with a calf kick to double jabs. And she's really picking her shots, I think. Juliana's being a little bit tentative. I don't know what. Okay, and then Juliana also kind of does that kind of swimming motion, which I'm not a fan of, when she strikes like 1-2s. Oh, and that's the round. So that's a tough round to call. I think I would give it to Pennington simply because it looked at one moment like she did actually hurt Pena, because Pena stumbled back into the cage. All right. Okay, Pena's corner's telling her that as she backs up, she's got to stay low. Because, yeah, Raquel did clip her with a left hook. That's the punch that kind of, and then a sort of right uppercut. So I think what they're saying is that as Pena is on the retreat, that's when Pennington's able to kind of close the distance and catch her with some decent shots. Um, well, the other thing she could do is move her head off the center line. Anyways, so here we are, second round. Raquel's coming out a little more active right off the bat. She's feinting a lot of upper body movement, opens up right away with a series of jabs. This is as attractive as a burned cigarette. Um, what are we talking about here? What's your name? HB Connor? I'm sorry, I can't see it. The print's super small. You talking about the fight or this stream? I just don't have great lighting. This was like very off the cuff. The fight, I mean. Okay. Well, yeah. It's not a great fight, is it? Both women keep their elbows out when they throw the jab, so yeah, not great striking from either one, but I would give the first round to Pennington simply for landing a couple of decent shots. Oh, I appreciate you. Hibcomer? Sorry, I don't know, is that how you say your name? But yeah, thank you for your support. Appreciate it. All right, again, looks like Pennington tried to land a left jab there. Yeah, I hate to say it, but neither woman they don't have great boxing striking. Okay, now look like we're getting into a bit of the grappling here, where both women have one underhook and one and Pena takes Pennington right down flat on her back. Not good position for Pena to be in. Pena basically has Pennington in side control-ish. We'd almost call this a kesagatami in judo, sort of a pin. Really not a good position for Pennington. Pennington needs to get out of this position. Pena looks like she's trying to do battle with the arm to. Oh, she's trying to. I think Pena's trying to work her way to side control. And Pena is just being tenacious and very patient. She now has side control. Very bad for the defending champ who's in bottom position and tight side control. So we'll see how good Raquel's grappling skills are, because she's not in a good spot at the moment. Looks like Pena's trying to knee her. I don't know if that would be my, I don't know that that's the greatest strategy. She had side control. Now it looks like she's almost trying to switch to north-south. It's kind of baffling because she had there's a number of submissions you can go for from side control. Now Pennington's trying to get an S grip around Pena. Pena's trying to do ground. Okay, now they just scrambled. Pennington's back up to her feet, but Pena's got sort of not quite back control. She's trying to go for the backpack, get the body triangle. Pennington's walking towards the cage. She's got the baseball bat control of Pena's extended arm over her shoulder. That was just a weird exchange on the ground, because I don't know why Pena didn't just try to secure position and ride that out and then go for a sub. But anyways, she's now going for the backpack, which means she's basically piggybacking Pennington. Pennington has her sort of left shoulder against the fence, trying to reach over her shoulder and bop Pena in the head. Not an effective way to administer strikes, of course, but better than doing nothing, I suppose. Right now, Pena just has one hook in. Yeah, this is like not. I don't even know if this is worse than a burned cigarette. Okay, and then the second round is over. So I suppose we could give that one to Juliana just for the um, top position control she had there. Um, but if I were Pennington, I'd be starting to feel a sense of urgency because, um, she wants to hang on to that belt. She worked so hard to get it. Now she's got pretty bad hematoma on the upper left part of her forehead, probably due to an elbow from Pena at some point. Looks like Pena's breathing kind of hard in a corner. But maybe that's just par for the course for her. Okay, so given what's gone on so far, I would say Pennington needs to try to keep this on the feet and just really start putting her combinations together. That's pretty funny, yeah. Hipcomer says, I can see this going to a full decision and then the main event ends in 90 seconds. Yeah, it would kind of suck both ways, right? So let's hear. Third round opens up. Pennington comes out, or they both come out striking, both with their not so great jab with the elbows out, but nevertheless. Oh, Pena tries to put a jab left hook or left hook right hand together. Okay, they're both just kind of sticking to throwing jabs at each other, but I think, you know, Pennington needs to pick things up a little bit. She wants to retain that belt. You don't want to lose a close decision. If she wants it to be clear, I think she needs to basically take these next 3 rounds decisively. Okay, now both women were briefly in a clinch, but now they're back to their striking and peering at each other through a double high guard and kind of bending over. Okay, now for some strange reason, Raquel switches. Oh, she switched to try to throw the leg kick, which didn't land. Okay. Now Pennington again with the double jab. She needs to follow up with that, or change it up. Jab to the head, jab to the body, or vice versa, or throwing a takedown attempt, throwing an overhand right. Just change things up a bit. Okay, both women just standing straight in front of each other and kind of, sort of, exchanging ineffective punches. Okay, now we've got Pena with body lock, underhook over. Raquel's just defending by placing her hand, and again, Pena gets the takedown off of that. And she's got top position, sort of side control. She's trying to go for the ground and pound. I don't know how good or bad Pena's grappling game is, but if you've got side control, the world should be your oyster if you're a grappler. So Pena's just holding Raquel there. There's no action. Okay, Pena has her left arm around Raquel's neck. Again, Raquel needs to get the heck out of there. Okay, now she's starting to scramble, turn, she gives up her back. Pena's keeping her upper body on Raquel. Oh, now she's got one hook in, got one arm in. She is going to try to get the other hook in, of course. Okay, now it looks like, oh, Pena's got body triangle on Pennington. Bad position for Pennington. And Juliana's just trying to administer blows to Pennington's head from that position. But that body triangle is locked in. Okay, Javier Logan says, I'm so excited for Bivol Beterbiev. Yes, for sure. I am excited for that fight too. Okay, now looks like Pena's trying to lock in a rear naked choke, but she does not have it. Okay, but this is not good for the defending champ. There's no way you're winning the fight when someone's got your back. Okay, and there's less than 15 seconds left, so not looking good for Raquel. Because I say we have Pena up 2-1 at this point. Simply for having more ground, having more control with the ground, on the ground. All right, so now Pennington needs to make a statement in these last 2 rounds, and I hope her corner can light a fire under her butt. That's funny. Yes, it's Hipcomer says it's getting interesting on the ground, and then he says, well, that might be an exaggeration. Well, I mean, it might be the most exciting thing that happens thus far, right? Because Pena did get that body triangle, and she did, go for the rear naked. She certainly had a good 3rd round there. So yeah, she's had 2 really good takedowns versus Pennington, and then she dominated on the ground. So at this point, Juliana's ahead. So let's see if Raquel can pull this off in the last 2 rounds. She's got to get going, though. Okay, both fighters, again, start out striking with that same sort of stance, although it looks like Pennington's trying to pick the pace up here. Coming forward, jabbing. But yeah, frankly, neither woman has the greatest sort of boxing striking. So honestly, I wish Raquel would switch up her tempo or pace or something. Oh, and Pena caught her with a good counter right hand as she was coming in for a calf kick. Yeah, again, both women just standing straight in front of each other and kind of, I mean, I hate to say it, but looking a little bit amateurish with the hands. I don't know if either fighter has enough tools in their toolbox to change their striking game up a little bit, but that's what Raquel needs to do for sure, because she's given away 2 rounds on the ground to Pena, and now Pena knows that's all she has to do is to try to sort of wait it out, and when Raquel gets close enough, get the clinch on her, get a body lock, get an S grip, and then take Raquel down. And she could dominate. Pena knows she can dominate on the ground. Haha, this would be okay if there's a Housewives Championship. But for the UFC and the pay-per-view, this is kind of not on par. I agree. Okay, Rocky landed a good right hand there, but yeah, she needs to do more than that. And again, I don't know either fighter well enough to really know what their sort of higher level, what's the most they're capable of on their feet, but this isn't going to help Raquel if she expects to retain or keep it. Oh, and she drops Pena with a right hand. Okay, so good. Now Pena's up against the cage. Pennington's going down to the ground. Pena looks... Okay, Pena's back up to her feet, but now she's got Pennington with Raquel's back is against the cage. And Pena has an underhook. Pennington's defending with a whizzer. Trying to go for some knees. Okay, now they're off the cage. Back to center. So a little bit over a minute left. So Raquel needs to do more of the same with her strikes, and if she knows now that she can drop Pena with her right hand, she needs to work off that. Maybe throw in a left hook, right hand, left hook. All behind the jab, of course. But she can't afford to take her foot off the gas at this point, because I think she's losing the fight. And the way judges score MMA, who knows if they'll really give her a ton of credit. There's less than 30 seconds left. And both fighters need a big final round. I can't say with certainty that it's 2-2, but I think in fairness it could be 2-2, in which case, Pennington needs to come out really hard for this last round. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, it was a beautiful sort of right hand that Rocky dropped Juliana with. Poor Wonder Boy had to give his life on the prelims for this. I know. I mean, that's the tough thing. Wonder Boy's such a tried and true, guy that they're always going to bring him back, right? He's one of the good guys in sports. He's reliable. He's professional. He never does anything like way out of pocket to cause a fight to fall off. So yeah, he's a matchmaker's dream. But anyways. Did anybody hear what he had to say about that, about the ref stopping it? Well, I'm talking about Wonder Boy, because it was like right in the last round, right? Buckley drops him on all fours, then it goes in for the, ground and pound, and the ref stopped it, like, after Buckley landed one shot to Wonder Boy's torso, I thought. But anyways, the camera angle wasn't showing us from the ref's point of view, so I couldn't tell if that was an early stoppage. Okay, here we are back with Pennington trying to hang on to her belt here. And again, a little bit too tentative for my taste. I think she needs to pick this up if she wants to make a statement and keep her belt. You can't count on getting a one-punch knockout or something. You gotta throw volume, a certain amount of volume. Okay, she's throwing a lot of double jabs. Pennington is. Pena's throwing single jabs and then doing her swimming right hand punch. Yeah, this is well, okay, and then Rocky's walking forward as she throws jab right hands. She's got about 3.5 minutes left, so she really needs to pick up the pace, vary her punches to try to catch Pena, set her up for something. But again, I don't know that either fighter has that level of sophistication. That's something you would have had to develop over years and with a competent striking coach. Okay, now Pennington has Pena's back against the cage. She's got underhooks. But Juliana looks like she's going for no. Now they're back off. To her credit, Pennington just landed a good jab right hand. And it does look like Pena's a little bit tired, so, be wise of Pennington to just really keep the pressure on her if she senses that Juliana is, in fact, fatiguing a little bit. So Pennington just threw like a right uppercut, jab, but again, not quite active enough for me. Okay, good. She landed another right uppercut, left hook, right hand. It does look like Juliana's starting to tire. There's about 1.5 minutes left in this match. So really, Rocky needs to just pick it up. But Pena comes back with a hard one too, so as they say, she always has a puncher's chance, right? Hibcomer's asking who won. So for Wonder Boy's fight, right? The ref stopped it. Joaquin Buckley won. For this fight, still playing out. We got less than a minute left. Okay, Rocky is starting to vary her punches a little bit. But I don't think she can afford to take her foot off the gas right now. She's really got to close out strong here and make a statement. Oh, Pena comes back with a hard one too. I'd like to see less peering and more action, right? Raquel just puts 3 punches together. Jab, way too many single punches from both fighters. Okay, we got 10 seconds left now. Pennington's still punching. Oh, and that's it. Okay, and the women hug it out. Both women, of course, raise their hands. Oh yeah, I am. Sorry, Hipcomer. I am a little bit behind on this stream. Which is annoyingly slow. Or stalling, or whatever you want to call it. All right, we'll see who won. Hopefully momentarily. Okay, let's see if I can get this. Still buffering, or whatever you call that. Who do you guys think won that fight? Or who did they give the decision to? Sorry guys, my stream is still loading. Alright, we'll see if I can get anything. Alright, who do you guys have in the main event? Yeah, that was kind of a disappointing co-main, to say the least. My opinion, as a professional boxer, both women could have worked on their striking a little more. I mean, over the years in the gym. You got Shama for the win? Yeah, maybe, huh? Yeah, no, I have Alex. I think Alex KO's Khalil. As likable as Khalil is, he just doesn't have as much experience. That counts for a lot. Alright. I don't know what is up with my stream, but let's try. Yes, I agree. Khalil is dangerous. Anything can happen, as he said, and he is hungry. And he does have that aspect to him. You know, he's got that one punch KO power. And he's not afraid to use it. So, yeah, I agree. Hopefully this is a good fight, right? Alright guys, sorry about this, but I'm having trouble with this stream. Alright, well, we'll keep trying for a little bit longer. Let's see if this one works. Sure, if you have a link, that'd be cool. Although I don't know if it could be my internet just not being great. Alright, let me try that one. Alright, so it looks like we're just waiting, getting a long shot of the cage itself. So I don't know how far behind my stream is at this point, but Yeah, it looks like, yeah, now they're panning way out to take in the whole arena. I'd say it looks like it's about 85 to 90% full. Well, it doesn't quite look like it's sold out. I don't know. Unless everybody suddenly got up to go use the restroom and get a drink or something. All right. So, do you think this fight goes the distance? Do you think somebody gets a KO? I think I'm going with Pereira for the stoppage, but we'll see how this works out. I mean, Roundtree does have that one punch KO power or ability, precision, and power, so anything's possible, as they say. Oh, man. All right, I'm still in a holding position. Okay, thank you for keeping me posted because, again, this is just all buffering. Um, Alright, sorry guys, I'm still in buffering mode here. So I'm not able to give you any commentary. We'll try a little bit longer and then I'll have to just let you guys go, because I mean, you should probably just try to find, or just watch it as you can. I don't know what's going on here. So who do you guys have for the Beterbiev Bivol fight? I am definitely going for Beterbiev. I don't know that if I wonder if Bivol can avoid it. Yeah, I did check out the 720p stream, but it kind of gives me the same links as the ones I have, you know. Anyways, I think it could be my internet, because I don't have like, oh, hang on, here we go. A second. All right, let's see if this one's working. Okay, here we go. Knock on wood. This stream will remain intact. Thank you so much for your patience. All right, so on my stream right now, just waiting for the ref to, or the guy, the official, to check out Pereira. I now have Pereira walking into the cage in his custom trunks, not trunks, tights, whatever you want to call them. Not sure what's up with his tight design, but you know, it's kind of cool, multicolored. Now he does have considerable height advantage over Khalil, you know, so that'll be interesting. Wow, amazing. Pereira is just standing there perfectly still. And it's like Roundtree's trying to match like the stare down with him. It's It's a heck of a stare down, though, from Pereira. I don't know. If I were Roundtree, I'd do like I think it was Oscar De La Hoya that would do that when you walk to the center to touch gloves, and sometimes Oscar would just look straight up at the ceiling. Um, yeah, exactly. Jerry tried doing the stare down with Pereira, and that didn't work out so well, right? All right, so now we got Bruce Buffer doing his things with his cards. I mean, you can really do something with your eyes. You can send a message. You can send energy or suck energy from somebody with your eyes. All right. All right. All right. Buffer's just doing his thing, doing his thing. So, what do you think? Will this last longer than 90 seconds? I don't know. Roundtree's kind of doing that sort of nervous bounce, so I hope he doesn't sort of drain himself just in the announcement part of the fight. All right, so now Bruce is announcing Khalil. He doesn't look terribly thrilled, but yeah, Hipcomer, I kind of agree with you. That short left hook has always been on the money. So, of course, Poatan could play that off against something else, right? Like set you up with that left hook, go for a left body kick or something else. But, anyways. All right. Hopefully, Khalil has visualized this multiple times, so I hope he's mentally prepared to be in the ring. David is, I guess, saying rhetorically, Khalil turns into a grappler. Well, with the height disadvantage, it's sort of an obvious solution, maybe, but I mean, your grappling better be, you know, better be on the money. Okay, so I'm guessing my stream is still behind, so we're just starting. Right off. Alex goes for front kick. Khalil blocks it. Alex touches the canvas and then gets right back up. Now they're back to striking with Khalil out of southpaw stance and Alex out of orthodox stance. Alex seems to be doing an open hand kind of guard to parry. Khalil's sort of the more bouncy one. Double jab right hand from Khalil. Alex taking very sort of small steps, conservative. Khalil lands a left hand. Another left hand. Right hook from Khalil. Alex still sort of conservative steps forward, goes for a head kick. It gets blocked by Khalil. Alex goes for a jab to the body, or the chest at least. Now both men are just kind of sizing each other up at distance. Khalil throws a jab. Alex tries to counter with the right hand. Khalil throws a left. Alex backs up. Alex goes for another calf kick. Another head kick from Alex. Roundtree comes right back with the jab right hand to back Alex up. Alex slowly making his way forward as Khalil still trying to keep moving laterally. Navigates his way around back to center of the cage. Alex throws a jab. Khalil comes back with the left hand. Alex throws a head kick, then an inside kick. Kind of a conservative first half of the first round for both men. Khalil still kind of bouncing around on the balls of his feet, whereas Alex keeps a fairly upright torso and just kind of takes very small steps, shuffle steps forwards and backwards. Alex with another head kick, outside kick, kind of misses that one, but he's right back in range, kind of stalking Khalil down, but Khalil's just staying active on his feet and throwing counter punches. Alex throws another head kick. Khalil catches it. This is going to be a very tough round to call, unless something happens in the final minute here. I'm assuming that Pereira is okay with giving away a round because I know he likes to really hone in and kind of read his opponent. So he might be sacrificing the first round just to get a good read on Roundtree. Okay, so Alex is still kind of pursuing Roundtree, just making those very small shuffle steps forward, throwing a jab, avoiding Khalil's counter punch. Pereira goes for another calf kick on the outside. Khalil comes back with a left. Now Alex advancing with a jab, and that's the round. Tough round to call, I would say. Alright, so this is weird. I don't understand why they don't have Roundtree sit down on his stool. In my opinion, you should allow the fighter to sit down on the stool. He is breathing. You can see his chest moving. I mean, he is breathing hard, so let him sit down. Now, from the body language in the corner, I'd say Alex is doing better. He seems to be the calmer guy in the corner. Yeah, I didn't really like the corner work of Roundtree there. A little weird. Um, there's no need to keep your fighter standing when you're allowed to sit down on the stool between rounds. I do understand that in the gym nobody does that, but it's a fight. Okay, right away, Roundtree's opening up with jabs and straight lefts. Doesn't seem to phase Alex. He's still got that sort of very upright torso that he favors. And he kind of just bounces back to avoid taking the brunt of those punches. Throws a head kick, no effect. But I expect to see Alex setting up some type of switch. So in other words, he's setting, I believe he's setting Khalil up, or he wants to set Khalil up for something, whether it's a punch to a kick or a kick to a punch. I feel like Pereira is really masterful at setting up his opponents. Again, Roundtree's using up a lot of energy by bouncing around like that. Oh, and Pereira lands a straight right, straight down the pike, as we say. Oh, another calf kick from Pereira. Khalil tries to come back with straight left. Honestly, I think Pereira is wearing Khalil down mentally. Khalil's still bouncing around, kind of trying to move laterally, and Pereira's just kind of slowly hunting him down, taking those very small steps. Straight upright torso, maintains his guard where he's comfortable keeping it, which is kind of low, but Khalil comes in with a jab, straight left, and Alex keeps just his slow march forward with a single jab. Khalil's still bouncing around, trying to move laterally. Pereira will occasionally throw a calf kick. Pereira's still just cool as a cucumber, not picking up the pace really, just slowly picking away at Khalil with that jab, while Khalil's making an awful lot of movement on his feet and with his hands and his upper body. That is draining. I mean, the adrenaline's going to be going anyways. Oh, Pereira misses with a head kick. Khalil still bouncing around. Alex throwing single jabs. Kind of back him up a little bit. See, the thing is, Khalil's expending a lot of energy with all this movement in an attempt, I think it is, to fake out Alex, but he's just using a lot of energy and not actually taking any he's not throwing any strikes off all this bouncing around and motion. Now, I mean, I'm always sort of going on about, being in motion and being able to move your upper torso to avoid punches, but you've also got to gauge whether you're just wasting energy. Khalil's walking forward with his jab right, jab move, or jab left, jab movements, but Alex has him backing up again with just his jabs and his foot movement. Khalil tries a head kick, no effect. Again, very tough round to score. All right, so hopefully Alex picks it up a little bit. Third round. I suppose we could argue that we could give that second round to Khalil, but again, I don't like the fact that they're keeping him standing on his feet for no reason between rounds. But that's, I don't know. I'm kind of, in general, underwhelmed by a lot of the corner work I see in the UFC. Not just the cut man, but the actual lack of clear-cut advice being given to fighters, particularly that last that last one, Bernard Saint Denis. I mean, his corner work was terrible after the first round. They're just telling him, this is your backyard. Um, come on, let's go. Like, that's completely horrible advice to give someone who's just taken a lot of heavy ground and pound shots. You got to tell them what to do. All right, here we have Khalil starting to open up a bit. He's coming forward, trying to throw more strikes. He's actually backing up Alex a little bit. Alex is starting to advance forward with his small steps. Khalil's still bouncing around on the balls of his feet, trying to look for his 1-2s and the occasional kick. Alex tries a head kick, no effect. Honestly, I think Alex got to let his right hand go. He's got to find a home for that right hand. Right hand, left hook, right hand. Especially since Khalil fights out of southpaw stance. You have to kind of break the rules a little bit when you're fighting. If you're a righty versus a lefty. Alex still throwing that lead um, calf kick with his left. And then whenever Khalil throws, he actually just he kind of just does the walking punch thing that a lot of MMA fighters do. Boxers definitely don't do that, but MMA fighters do. Alex still very calmly, just kind of slowly taking those small steps forward, shuffle steps to walk Khalil back. Then Khalil comes forward with big punches. I really think that he's in danger, perhaps, of gassing himself out. Khalil, that is. Um, okay. Alex has Khalil backing up towards the fence. Then Khalil will circle around, come back to the center of the cage. Got a little bit under a minute and a half left in this third round. Alex again throws a head kick with no effect. But I am curious to try to figure out what is he trying to set Roundtree up for. Okay, again, Alex, jab, left hook. Kind of backs up every time Roundtree throws his 1-2 at him. And okay, Pereira's starting to pick the pace up a little bit now and close distance a little more. Shuffling in a little closer, landing punches with a little more frequency or at a quicker tempo. Here we go. So now that he's much more at mid-range instead of outside, he's just following Khalil around the perimeter. Khalil tries to come forward with a jab, straight left, throws in a few kicks that are completely ineffective. Okay, Alex starting to mix it up right towards the end of the round. Gets a tie clinch and tries to go for the knee right at the buzzer. Again, Khalil walks back to his corner and just stays standing. I don't know, maybe it's a new thing for cornermen to just keep their fighters standing up. Makes no sense to me, but so be it. Alright, I'll see if I can listen in on a bit of this corner work. Okay, can't really make out what they're saying. So, as we go into the fourth round, I'm thinking Pereira might start to pull away in these last two rounds. Simply by picking up the pace. Starts out with his patented calf kick. Again, they're more at mid-range now, which kind of favors Alex because he's got the height and reach. Khalil keeps throwing his jab hand out there, but he's about 6 inches shy from actually landing it. Alex is still just taking those small steps forward and sideways, able to land the jab. Again, comes with that calf kick. Pereira, that is. Oh, he's just really picking up the calf kicks. Now he's landing the jab, mixing in the rear front snap kick to the body. Khalil's trying to pick up the pace with his jab right hand, or jab left hand rather. And he's kind of got that funny sort of Thai head bobbing thing going on. Probably from just spending so much time doing the Thai boxing thing. kind of a weird thing that those guys do where they just keep bobbing their head around. But anyways, Pereira's just right on top of him, vertical torso, kind of just playing the part of the hunter, pecking away at him slowly. Oh, comes back with counter punches to Roundtree. I think Roundtree's just slowly starting to unravel a bit here. Yeah, Pereira comes back with some hard counter right hands. Nice. Left hooks, throws in a knee. Yeah, fourth round, Alex is starting to pull away. He's bloodied up Khalil. I'm not sure if that's a cut or that's just his nose. But yeah, Pereira's now starting to put it on him with the jabs. Just pecking away. Khalil's going for that double high guard. Pereira's now just really starting to open up. We got 2 minutes left in the fourth round. Just pecking at him with that jab. Pereira's nice and relaxed. He's got his hands really low. Mixes in the right uppercut. Oh, lands a right hand and really catches Khalil off balance. Khalil's moving backwards into the cage. Just covering up like this. Swinging wildly and missing. Pereira's right on top of him. Jab. Khalil's trying to walk away almost sideways. Does not look good. He's just covering up, throwing out a punch every now and again. But this does not look good for Khalil. Looks like it's about to get stopped very shortly because he's kind of stumbling around a little bit while Alex just stays right on top of him. Right at the right distance. Khalil again just doing this, not good. Now his head gets snapped back with a jab. Alex is starting to open up and Khalil's hands are dropping. Khalil's just trying to cover up. No, at this point, Khalil doesn't really have an answer at all. Alex is in, got the tie clinch, lands a knee. Now he's just got Khalil with his back against the cage. Khalil is trying to throw, but he's just missing wildly, and Alex is able to come back with counters. Body, head. Khalil goes straight down to the ground. That's it. Referee stops the fight. Yeah, from the body language of the way Khalil went down, he didn't want any more. So, that was it. Not a spectacular stoppage, but a dominant performance in the fourth round by the champion, and shows us why he is in fact the champ, right? All right, well, it's been fun, you guys. It's been over 3 hours of me just semi-blabbing and trying to get my streams to work, but thank you very much, you guys, for tuning in. I appreciate all your comments. If you haven't done so yet, please do subscribe and hit the notification button so we can beat the algorithm, because apparently, in spite of my fairly accurate pre-fight breakdowns, YouTube does not push my video thumbnails out there. Thank you, Hipcomer, for all the comments and the link, and thank you for Caswell Guys Limited. Appreciate the positive feedback. Appreciate all the positive comments. Thank you, David Jenkins. Thank you, Joe, who purchased a membership for another viewer. Very kind and generous act on his part. So yeah, hope you guys do subscribe, do hit the notifications. Consider joining as a member for just $2.99 a month. Would love to see you there, because I'm able to answer members' comments because they have early access to all the longer videos. So thank you once again. I think we'll close out for the evening, and I'll see you in the comment section of the next video, or maybe in the next live. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, guys. We'll see you again soon.